play a game?
Why, yes. I believe we shall.
Oh, I got a live one here.
Getting geeky in Little Rock. It's Shane Plays Geek Talk, a journey into the things we love. We are live today. So if you're listening June 15th at 1 p.m. Central on 101.1 FM, The Answer of Little Rock, Central Arkansas area, or streaming online. I was just talking to a buddy recently. That's the only way he listens to the radio station is online at 101.1 FM, theanswer.com. So if you're listening to either, then just glad to have you on Saturday, July 15th. And then, of course, if you're listening on delayed, like my podcast or on YouTube or Krypton Radio or something, I'm just really glad to have you. I love both mediums. I know it's kind of weird to promote a show as both a live talk radio show and a podcast, but that's what this is. It's not a podcast as an afterthought. Sometimes the podcast will actually have additional content or different editing or something like that. So, but then of course I love the excitement and there of live radio. And there's live radio has a discoverability that podcasts don't. As much as I love podcast, you don't flip the channel in your car and find different podcasts. So there's, I love both mediums, I guess is what I'm saying. If anybody wants to call in, it's 501-823-0965. It's 501-823-0965, or you can tweet me at Shane Plays. And the reason that I made a point of saying we're live, we've been pre-recorded for at least 3 weeks in a row, which is kind of unusual for this show, which is why I was making the point that we're live. This is Shane Plays Geek Talk. It is Geek Talk Radio. I am your host, Shane Stacks. And joining me is a returning friend and guest, Mike Tinnel, who wears many cool geeky hats. The main thing we're going to be talking about later in the show today is the upcoming Little Rock Comic-Con. And then Mike also does a lot of really interesting things with toy collecting. He does some podcasting and I think YouTube streaming about that. So we'll talk about all that. And then, Mike, tell us the guest who should be calling in here in a few minutes.
Actually, he just texted me. He's going to be calling here in a couple minutes. Robby Musso.
Okay.
He is he's a freelance artist. He's done a lot of work with IDW Comics, the G.I. Joe and Transformers Collectors Club, Hasbro Toys. So he's done a lot of stuff out there.
Okay. Well, great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him. Yeah, I always look forward to the Little Rock Comic-Con pre-show because you always bring on interesting folks. We've had, a couple of years ago, we had Optibotimus, who's a lot of fun, does a lot of Transformers toy and other toy reviews on YouTube. We've had Power Ranger actors. We've had a lot of interesting stuff that you bring every year. So I always look forward to it. So, and then when we're going to be talking after the break, Mike has something to share, kind of a special attendance fee announcement after the break. But what is the basics of next Saturday? Like just the basic times and the cost to get in and what people can expect for Little Rock Comic Con? Well,
next week it will be Saturday from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. There is a $10 charge.
And that's the 29th, June 29th.
Yeah, June 29th, okay. Right. Yep. A $10 charge to get in. Again, we go from 9 to 5. We'll have a bunch of dealers and, guests there. And then at 6 o'clock, after the show's over with, we'll be having a pizza party over at the Fairfield Inn in the lobby and the meeting room space they have. And that's a $8 charge for that. Cash only for that one. But we plan on having a good time.
So speaking of pizza and geeky, have you seen Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles yet? That animated movie?
I have not watched it. I tried to read the comic.
The comic?
You
just couldn't get into it?
Couldn't get into it.
Well, I'll tell you, I read the first one that came out a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. I think they've had 2 or 3 of them now, miniseries. Is it James Tynion, I think, writes them? And I could be wrong. But anyway, I liked it. It was fine. I finally got the DVD, Blu-ray, or whatever recently, and finally got a chance to start watching it this morning. And I got about 20 minutes in, and I'm very impressed. I really like how... Have you seen it, Zach? I like how they're doing the animation style. There's a fight at the beginning with Batman and Shredder that is no joke. I mean, it's one of the best fights I've seen in comic books or cartoons in a long time.
I might have to check
and
that
it was
out.
really good. So I was pretty impressed with how they're doing it so far, the animation style and all of that. So, and of course, pizza is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. In fact, they're showing a scene where like the turtles are suiting up and putting their weapons on, and Batman's putting his utility belt on, and it cuts back to a turtle, and a turtle's putting like pizza in a side holster. So it was just kind of funny. So I think Robby's about to join us. So Robby Musso, are you there? I think. Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, good.
Hey, thanks for calling in. I've got Mike Tinnel sitting here. Robby, I think this is the first time we've talked, but I'm a big Transformers geek. And so I'm super pleased to have you on the show. So welcome to Shane Plays. Mike and I were just sitting here chatting, just kind of, not in any formal topic or anything like that. So I'll clue you in on what we're in the middle of talking about. Have you seen the new Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie?
Actually, I just bought the DVD 2 days ago. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I bought it, and I plan on watching it. It looks really awesome.
Well, that's kind of where I bought it like 2 days ago. I usually get them the Tuesday they come out, but just for whatever reason. And I got to watch about 20 or 30 minutes of it this morning, and I was really impressed with the animation style. And I was telling Mike that there's a fight at the beginning, like they don't mess around. There's a fight between Batman and Shredder at the beginning that is one of the best fights in comics or animated movies I've seen in a long time.
Man.
It's like Shredder is definitely not like, Shredder holds his own. I'll put it that way. It's pretty freaking sweet. So, and Robby, we'll talk more with you here in a moment. We were talking a little bit about Little Rock Comic Con, giving some details, and we're going to get into that later. But what Mike had shared and what I've seen, just kind of looking up your bio, is you've done a lot of work for IDW in the Transformers comics world, and then you also do some toy design. Is there anything else you'd want to add to that?
Yeah, actually, I started out in the comics. I did a few issues. I think, off the top of my head, I maybe did total, maybe about 5 issues, maybe between 5 and 10 issues total of the different series.
Right.
But yeah, since around 2009, 2010, I've pretty much been only working on the toys. Like I've kind of shifted. I've done a couple like little fill-in cover issues, or exclusive covers or special promo art, but most of the stuff I've done for the last 10 years or so has been toy design.
Wow.
So it's been interesting. It's been exciting, really.
So I want to circle back to that. But is there anything that you can share right now that you've done recently on toy design? Because I know that some of you have to keep under wraps, right?
Yeah, well, a lot of the stuff, yeah, of course it is. It's very like NDA, and the difference between toys and comics is that comics, your name is attached to it, whereas with the toys, when the retail material gets released, there are no credits on the boxes. The back of the packaging doesn't have any names on it. But I can talk about what I've recently done, which is probably coming out, like the. I don't know if you guys have seen the Ghostbusters Masterpiece Optimus Prime?
Yes. Yeah.
So I helped work on that as well. So that's probably like one of the most recent things that has come out.
So just so that people know, okay, so that's the second Ghostbusters Transformers mashup. The first one was an Ecto-1,
Right.
which everybody went nuts on. And then I just saw recently some pictures of it's an Optimus Prime, like the truck,
Right.
but it's like Ghostbusters Ecto color designs and stuff. So
correct,
yeah,
Right.
And then roller. They have the deco. It looks like the Ecto-1 with the paint job, but it's got little extra things in it, like Optimus will have he's got the proton pack, and
that is so sweet.
His gun now has like a hose that connects to the backpack, where it looks like his ion cannon looks like one of the I forget what the wand is called, the neutrino wand.
Yeah, the neutrino wand, right? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and then Roller has a new piece tooled on it where Roller looks like a ghost trap, and Slimer can ride on top of it.
Yeah, I saw the little picture of Slimer on Roller. That is excellent. So, what can you share? What part of your design was in that process?
Yeah, I helped with the deco, just as far as like where the paint apps would go.
Okay.
And then the Roller was my design. So like making Roller into the the ghost trap, that was my pretty much my design.
Nice.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, as long as we're on this, how did you get from? And by the way, folks, I want to make sure people know Robby Musso is going to be at Little Rock Comic Con next Sunday. Saturday.
Yeah.
My bad. Saturday, June 29th. And from what I understand, Mike shared that he saw you recently at a con in another state, and you've got product with you, like cool stuff. So do you want to kind of promo a little bit of what you'll have with you at Little Rock Comic Con?
Yeah, I'll have some prints. I'll have artwork. And I'll be doing sketches as well. I'll do little commissions right on site, and I'll also be bringing with me the recent exclusive cover that I did for the new IDW book that was relaunched. So they relaunched it with issue number 1. I think they're on issue like number 6 now. But issue 1 came out a few months back, and a local shop down here. I'm from New Orleans.
Okay.
So a local shop here actually commissioned me to do an exclusive cover for that first issue, which was fun because like I said, I hadn't done any comic work, and it's been several years now. So I'll have copies of that issue with me. So I can do, I'll sign it, and if anybody wants any sketches on it, I can do sketches as well.
Okay, man, that's excellent. So, and you'll be there 9 to 5. Will you be at there's like a pizza hangout thing after? Will you be there for that?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So, what I have found when you go to cons, if you really want to chat with somebody, sometimes it's better, if you can, to run into them at that kind of event, because sometimes at their booth they're extremely busy. So, oh man, that's excellent. We'll talk a little bit more, about how you got into toy design and all that. But that's super cool, man. Those Transformers Ghostbusters mashups are like Reese's, man. It's Reese's peanut. It's like chocolate and peanut butter. It's just perfect.
Of fun.
Yeah.
Hey, you have Ghost Starscream, right? So
right.
It's a perfect combination.
That's right. That is right. That's one of my favorite. I don't know if you call it an arc, but developments. And I'm a huge G1 Transformers nerd.
Oh yeah.
And when Starscream's ghost shows up, I love that. I thought, if you're gonna get rid of Starscream, which I hated because I love Starscream, bringing back his ghost was pretty great.
Hey, he showed up in Beast Wars too.
Yeah,
he did. You can't get rid of him.
You can't. He's so slimy and he's such a weasel. I love him. Dear goodness, I love him. So, Mike, so you got the event 9 to 5. We'll talk about it, like I said, more after the break, but I want to get the basics out. So next Saturday, June 29th, Little Rock Comic Con, but it's at Benton Event Center, Benton Event Center, which is basically by the Tinseltown movie theater.
Same parking lot.
Yeah, it's very easy to find. Every year I go, it has a good turnout. You got cosplay, you got cool vendors, you've got a lot of really interesting stuff going on. So a Comic Con these days is just sort of a geek festival, really. Yeah. But you'll have a lot of good vendors. Now, last year you had an extremely high amount of comics vendors. How are you looking this year on vendors?
We're still going to have quite a few.
Yeah,
we got anywhere from I think about around 10 booths.
Great.
About comics.
Fantastic. That's one of my favorite parts. And then last couple of years, I found I collect retro tabletop role playing games too. And the last couple of years at your show, I found some of your vendors have that stuff. I've been really impressed with. So, all right. And then I wanted to highlight something that you've already done, but I just wanted to give you kudos for it. What do you call it? Lunch with a superhero, burger with a superhero?
Lunch of a superhero.
So that raises money for
Arkansas Children's Hospital.
Okay. And this year was successful again?
To my knowledge, it was, yeah.
Okay. As far as you know.
Yeah. I know, of course, the kids had a good time, and the Burger Shack in Benton that sponsors it,
right?
He did very well.
Good.
And it's just really, when you go to conventions, they can get extremely crowded.
Right.
And, it's hard to get a picture.
Right.
It's hard to get their attention.
Right.
Or they're talking to their buddies, So this here is kind of an event where children can come, eat a burger, especially since Burger Shack's not open on the weekends, and also, get the picture of their superhero whenever, not to be rushed or anything of that nature.
Okay.
So that really works out good for the children.
Okay. Very cool. Excellent. And now I know this year is like the final big, yes, it's the big Little Rock Comic Con. In future years, do you think you'll still be involved with the Lunch with a Superhero, helping that out, or what do you think?
We're still going to be doing something.
It's a great thing,
right?
And I like to help Brandy Bullock with I can't believe it. I can't
Heroes
believe,
and Angels.
Yeah, Heroes and Angels. I just love helping with all that stuff. So, all right, okay. So you got 9 to 5 next Saturday, Benton Event Center, it's Little Rock Comic Con in Benton Event Center, which is basically the same parking lot as the Tinseltown. And then at 6 o'clock, there's a get together involving pizza and et cetera in the ballroom at the hotel next door. And that's how much again?
$8.
Okay. And
you get pizza and soda and get to hang out. We might even plug up a DVD player to the big TV in there and watch movies or something.
You should play Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
If someone has it, we might
play that Shredder Batman fight over and over and over. Okay. So we've got, here's just some of the guests. You've got John Anderson, who is an actor who's been in everything from Guardians of the Galaxy, Stranger Things, Spider-Man, Homecoming. Now is Bobby Vale, former head toy designer at Hasbro, is he still coming? Or how are we looking?
Yeah, it's actually Bobby Vala. He misspelled his name. I didn't realize it until I was putting those out.
Oh, no.
And he actually was, at the time we booked him, he was one of the head toy designers. Right. Hasbro did a huge cut, and he was one of them. Actually, everyone who was working on the G.I. Joe brand was actually cut.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's actually doing his own toy line called Valaverse.
Well, see, to me, that's even more exciting to talk to him now. But, it's cool that he's working for Hasbro.
Right, and he's actually going to be, bringing his toy line with him.
Cool.
He has a Kickstarter currently right now going on to fund these toys.
Okay, well, cool. And it's the Valaverse.
Valaverse.
So do you know how you spell that? Just to give him a plug for his Kickstarter.
You're gonna put me on the spot. How to spell?
It starts with a V.
Yeah,
and it has toys.
Valaverse.
Okay, cool. And then of course Robby Musso, who word on the street is that Robby at one time did a lot of work for IDW Comics on the Transformers comics. But now actually designs ultra cool toys. So I hear he may be there.
He might be.
Yeah. Oh, well, hey, Robby, what's going on?
I might be.
Yeah. So, all right. Is there anything else? We're going to get to a break here in a little bit, but is there anything else, Mike, I wanted to give you a chance to talk about? I think you do like the Angry Mike show, and then you also do the G.I. Joe sort of video streaming. Like what kind of plug some of your other stuff you do?
What I do, I started off as a co-host on a Cybercast a few years ago, and so I decided to branch off and do just another G.I. Joe show, which we've been doing that for almost 3 years now. And another friend of mine who lives up in Ohio, he would go to these conventions and he would talk about the podcast and like, oh, that angry guy, because I'll get a little, you get a little upset. Yeah, when I start talking about some stuff that I don't agree with, I get upset. And he says, he pitched the idea of the Angry Mike persona. So,
which it fits.
Apparently it does. Yeah. Apparently I have anger issues.
Yeah, well, no, you are what I would call, I think you feel the direct approach is best, so there's no confusion on what you're trying to say.
Pretty much.
That's how I would. But that doesn't mean you don't get a little hot under the collar sometimes.
Oh, you got that right.
Yeah.
So basically, we have switched everything from just our G.I. Joe show to Angry Mike on YouTube.
Yeah.
So as far as Angry Mike is, there's an umbrella of shows, which is, of course, just our G.I. Joe show, the Angry Mike show, and one of my buddies, you remember Josh from G1 Hextron channel.
Yeah, I like him, man.
He actually let me have Galactic Gumbo, which is an all nerd talk podcast.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I have 3 shows that I host, and then I co-host with Cybercast and Stasis Lock.
Man, you're staying busy. I thought I had a lot of radio and podcasting and video stuff going on. How frequently are you getting episodes out?
Just our G.I. Joe show is every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Galactic Gumbo is every 2 weeks, but starting in July, we'll go to weekly. Stasis Lock is weekly on Wednesdays, and that can be found on the Primal Sabbath YouTube channel.
Okay.
And then on Josh's Cybercast, that's every 2 weeks as well. So the weeks I do Just Our G.I. Joe show, he's off, and then we do. So every Saturday I'm doing a show. Every Wednesday I'm doing a show.
Okay.
Angry Mike just depends on how irritated I get through the week or when I have enough topics to talk about something.
Okay. So are you going to have an Angry Mike booth at come by and meet an angry man at Little Rock Comic? You're going to be too busy.
I'll be too busy. I'll probably be angry at the same time, but I'll be too busy to talk about it.
Last year, I was, you had a lot going on and you were super busy. And I kind of tried to follow you around for about an hour to help you out. I couldn't keep up. I was like, okay, man, I'm going to go back because you're moving fast, taking care of a bunch of stuff.
When I started 11 years ago and I was in that small ballroom in downtown,
right.
I would get there at like 5 in the morning and I would set all my tables up in an hour. Yeah. And then the dealers start coming in. And back then it was easy peasy, 150, 175 people. Yeah. Now we're talking, over 1,000 people showing up at this event. So
success brings its own.
Apparently so.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So you got that. And Robby, not that doing all that toy design and you're doing some Virgin or variant covers and for Transformers, but is there anything else you'd like to share that you're up to these days before we kind of move on and talk more about just Little Rock Comic Con?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it these days, and I'm very grateful, and I feel fortunate to be able to do what I do, for a job, basically.
Right.
But yeah, it's basically there's just a toy design, and that keeps me busy.
Okay.
And I love it.
Well, one thing, and I don't have a lot of time to spend on this. I got to talk with Zach here in a second, my board op. We haven't been able to banter in about a month because I've been pre-recording. But have you one of the hashtags that I've stumbled across on Instagram, and now it's one of my favorite things, is knockoff toys. Have you seen this stuff?
Oh yeah, I've seen plenty of those knockoffs.
Yeah. Well, now there's a whole like subculture of people purposefully making goofy knockoff toys. And they're put them like in the plastic blister packet. I mean, it looks like something you'd buy in the store, but search for like hashtag knockoff toy on Instagram or something. And like most people, I think like when you go in and it's from like, some country that has iffy copyright laws, and it's like, Mighty Protector Heroes, and it's like some weird Superman thing by some weird Spider-Man thing. And that's actually, they're trying to sell it. Well, now they have a whole thing of people making stuff that is supposed to be a knockoff, and there's some really hilarious stuff out there. So is that the same thing you're talking about, Robby? Like there's this whole like hobby around making these crazy knockoff toys.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of them, and a lot of them are hilarious.
Yeah,
I've seen some are actually kind of cool too. Like I've seen G.I. Joe figures that are done. And they look like He-Man figures, like they've got the big muscle build, but they're like I've seen. There's one that was like a Destro.
I actually have that one.
Do you really? Well, it seems like a pretty interesting hobby.
It's just kind of crazy, because I mean, it looks like if Destro or these other characters existed in the He-Man universe.
Right.
This is how they would look, but obviously they're not licensed.
Well, that's the thing. It's mashups usually. And sometimes it's ironic mashups like, I don't even know. I'd have to find, something, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that, but that's something I've been noticing more and more. And there's a lot of creativity going into it. So one of these days I may cover that. All right. Well, guys, I got to banter with my board op / engineer / producer Zach, because here's the thing: the head of my news team, Sal, who actually the news team has been working just half days lately because I've been doing so much pre-recording. But it's not Sal, but it's his grandmother and her dog Muffin. If I don't banter with Zach, Muffin gets upset, and evidently, yeah. So. We haven't. Oh,
we can't have that.
Well, strange things happen. I mean, I can't say for sure it was Muffin, but we've had the transmitter go off the air. It's strange things. We've had oddly voice disguised phone calls, and it's just not good. But we have the Mobley Detective Agency who's been monitoring this. Now, Zach, how the heck are you, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Okay, so listen, I got a memo of collected analysis from the Mobley Detective Agency.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. It says that, okay, so our May 25th show, which was the Art Bell tribute, and UFOs and other weirdness. You know what, man? I put my show on YouTube, right? Just for the people who happen to want to listen. It'll get 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 views. If it's a certain topic, it might get like 1,000 views. That Art Bell show is up to like 6,000 people. You put Art Bell and UFOs on a YouTube video, and I mean, people jump all over that. So,
wow.
So the analysis is, so the May 25th show had no Zach banter. Okay. On June 1st, I did the live. I just did a live show trying to get information out on the flood, and I included the phrase, evidently spontaneous, like Muffin can suck it or Muffin can stuff it, because I said, Zach, we're not going to be able to banter. Yeah. So Muffin's just going to have to suck it or whatever it was I said, stuff it. It was in retrospect, it was I shouldn't have, but I did. So I regret the heat of the moment. And then on June 8th and June 15th. We also pre-recorded. So it's been a month. Okay. So I sent a memo. The Mobley Detective Agency has intercepted some of Muffin's cell phone, mobile phone messaging and whatnot and emails, even though it's encrypted. But they've picked out certain phrases like Zach level is below threshold, blatant disrespect, move forward, and Operation Uno digits. Because, they keep mentioning Operation Uno digits. But they're not sure if those phrases are related, given the imprecise nature of interception methods. So, anyway. But Sal, I talked to Sal, and he said, Muffin is usually more bark than bite. And Sal is, Miss Pennyfingers. Sal is, I think Sal and Miss Pennyfingers are kind of a thing now. So she's still working hard. But anyway, all right, so we got to do it. Do you have the Survivor? I didn't even cue you for this. Do you have the Survivor?
I
See
do
if we can find. We got to get our final Survivor Westeros update. So Mike and Robby, if either of you guys were Game of Thrones fans, I don't watch it, but Zach has been giving me, in the final season, we've been doing Survivor Westeros. Those are who got voted off the island this week, because somebody always dies. So do we have the Survivor music?
I don't have it with me. I was not prepared for it.
Zach. You did ask. Maybe I can edit it in. Okay, so everybody listening at home, just pretend. You know what? We'll get to a break, and when we get back,
I may have it right here.
Do you have it? Do you want to go to a break, or do you need to?
I got it right now.
All right, Robby, do you watch or did you watch Game of Thrones?
I have a confession. I never watched.
I never watched it either. It's like everybody watches it, but every time somebody comes on the show, it's like, I don't watch it.
I hate to be that guy. I really do.
You're not alone.
I never watched it.
This segment started as an ironic because I don't watch it. Okay, so let's get the final Survivor Westeros update. There we go. Oh man. Okay, so Zach. What happened? Do you even remember now? What happened on the final episode?
Wow, it's probably about a month and a half. I don't know. Let's see here.
Did somebody die? Did Cersei? Well, Cersei died the episode before, right?
Right. She died the episode before with Jaime in her arms.
And then the blonde Daenerys, what's her name?
Daenerys.
She went nuts.
Yeah, she did.
And started just killing everything.
And she was killed in the final episode.
She got killed.
Yeah, she did.
Who took her out?
Jon Snow did.
Because Jon Snow don't play. I don't even watch the show, and I like Jon Snow.
Well, people had their reservations about Jon Snow. They wasn't sure he was going to do that, and you know what?
But see, they were like a thing. They were like, hey, baby, and then he had to kill her.
Yeah, and nephew basically. Yeah, that stuff.
But people I've talked to recently, what did you say about a nephew? What happened now?
He was her nephew.
But they were still like a thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I guess there's no laws against that in Westeros.
Yeah.
So Daenerys, he killed Daenerys. How did he kill her?
It was with a knife, I believe.
Did he say, "Hey, baby, give me some sugar"? And when she came in for the sugar, did he take her out? What happened?
I think it went along those lines.
I'm so proud of you for going crazy and killing everybody. Come here and give me some sugar. All right. So, who ended up on the Iron Throne?
Brand the Broken.
Brand the Broken.
Brand the Broken.
Well, here's the thing, though. You know, it's such a big thing in pop culture. I can't help but hear, like, isn't it possible he's like possessed by something?
Well, he is the three-eyed raven, and
what? Back up. What?
The three-eyed raven.
Three-eyed raven.
Which
okay.
is
that like a one-eyed Jack?
The three-eyed raven is supposed to know the past,
yeah,
the present, and the future.
Well, I remember I read the first book and a half.
Okay.
And he was like doing like spirit running as a wolf or something like that. So I don't know if they got into that in the show.
I don't think so. No.
Did he literally have 3 eyes?
No.
Okay.
Nah.
So he ended up on the throne.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, were you satisfied?
I wasn't satisfied.
Was not.
I was not satisfied with the final episode.
Did you ask for your money back?
Did you sign the petition?
Yeah, did you sign the... Yeah. Speaking of petitions, did you hear the people that are petitioning Netflix to take Good Omens off the air?
What?
But Amazon is the one that has Good Omens,
exactly.
Not Netflix. But they're petitioning Netflix.
Oh, that's
wow.
funny.
Yeah, because it's a very irreverent take on the Antichrist and Armageddon.
Mm-hmm.
And the petition is that it's making Satanism look cool. So they petitioned Netflix to stop showing it. And so in response, Amazon jokingly canceled Stranger Things because Stranger Things anyway. So all right. So we're at the end of the final episode of Game of Thrones. Were there any hints that like a twist, like ooh, there's still evil coming or anything like that, or was it done?
There were no twists. However, they basically left it off as they could continue some of the stories.
Well, I heard they're doing a prequel or something.
Yeah, it would be during the Mad King, Daenerys' father.
Yeah,
it'd be during that time.
Nobody's surprised that Daenerys went crazy because her father was crazy, and I guess at different times during the show she was like pretty savage.
Right, and plus you could see the examples.
All right. Mm-hmm. So the what's her name? Arya Stark. What's her name? What happened with her?
She's on a ship heading towards the west.
What? The west?
The true west.
The true west.
Yeah, the true west coming this way.
Oh.
Possibly.
California.
Hey, the true west.
Yeah. Wow. She's really going to be surprised by California. She thinks she's been in a fantasy land. So, all right. So, last question. The man, I can't remember his name. He was like, was it Tyrion Lannister?
Yeah.
What happened to him?
He was arrested because they thought that he killed Daenerys, or he basically plotted against her. He was arrested, but afterwards he became the advisor of Brand the Broken.
Works for me.
Yeah.
So he's the Emperor's hand for Brand or whatever it's called?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks. Hope we enjoyed and I hope Muffin, I did an extended... Muffin, please don't enact Operation Uno Digits, whatever that is. I don't know if the show can handle it. So, and Sal's grandmother, if you're actually an unwilling participant or if you're like suffering Stockholm Syndrome or something, send me a signal. We'll try to get you some help. Zach, go ahead. I'm going to... read a couple of ads for sponsors. We'll get to a break, and when we get back, we're going to talk some more about Little Rock Comic-Con with Mike Tinnel and Robby Musso. So first of all, I want to share Kursova magazine. Are you a fan of thrilling adventure, daring suspense, and just a touch of romance? Kursova has you covered. Since 2016, Kursova has been publishing the very best in contemporary fantasy and science fiction, retro pulp, and for you D&D gamers, Appendix N style fiction. Based in Little Rock, you can pick up their flagship magazine locally at Michael Tierney's The Comic Book Store on Treasure Hill or Collector's Edition on JFK in North Little Rock. Swing by one of Michael's stores and pick up an issue or find them on Amazon. Cirsova. It starts with a C. Cirsova. Kursova magazine. Check them out today. Comic book lovers, visit thewildstars.com today. From the mind of author and comic book industry expert Michael Tierney, it's not just a comic book, it's a comic book novel. The Wild Stars is sci-fi and so much more. Learn the explanations behind UFOs and space gods. This isn't the Twilight Zone. This is the region of the Milky Way galaxy known as the Wild Stars. We guarantee you've never read anything like it. The complete comic book novel took 20 years to tell, with one reviewer noting, the story of the Wild Stars stretches ambitiously across space and time, from small-town murders
to the destruction of planets, with every event given multiple layers of meaning. If you haven't read The Wild Stars, you're missing out. Visit thewildstars.com today.
The die is cast.
Plunge into worlds of fantastic adventure where dragons lie and the undead stalk the shades of your mind's imagines. Where creatures of legend plunder wealth through the horror of their passage. Monsters grim and foul hold the ecstasy of gold and the renown of glory. All this and more awaits you and your friends in the unlimited, fantastic world of the Castles and Crusades role-playing game from Trollord Games. Visit your friendly local game store or Trollord.com to get your copy today. A rules-light, adaptable game that has stood the test of time. 12 years in constant publication with no new additions. Castles and Crusades is the original, easy-to-play attribute check system. Join us and unleash your imagination. Visit your friendly local game store or Trollord.com to get your copy of Castles and Crusades today. Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/Shane Plays.
Hey, welcome back to Shane Plays Geek Talk, a journey into the things we love. I'm your host, Shane Stacks. If anybody wants to call in, it's 501-823-0965. That's 501-823-0965. Or you can tweet me at Shane Plays, SSHANEPLAYS. We're talking with Mike Tinnel, who, among many other things, including a lot of podcasting and live streaming on geeky topics, up to, but not only the Angry Mike Show, which I love so much, and the Not Just Another G.I. Joe show, but we talked about a lot of the other stuff he's doing, but he's also the organizer and coordinator and all of that of Little Rock Comic Con, which is coming this next Saturday, June 29th, 9 to 5. He's got a special announcement on admission prices here in a moment. We're also joined by Robby Musso. Did I say that right? Robby Musso?
That's it.
Yeah, originally from Nolans. Where are you from now, Robby? Are you still Nolans?
I'm still here.
Yeah?
I'm still here. E-commerce is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Until I went to Air Force Tech School in Biloxi, Mississippi. Up until then, I was one of the people who committed the sin of saying New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
And then I found out it's Nolans or New Orleans.
Well,
yeah.
It's somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
I think we still like to kind of think that we're saying it properly. But,
yeah.
We tend to say New Orleans.
New Orleans.
So
okay.
New Orleans. It's not quite New Orleans,
right?
But it's not quite Nolans. It's somewhere in between. But,
so if I say Nolans, I sound like the person trying to sound like I'm local, but really I'm even more of a loser than the person who says New Orleans. Okay, New Orleans.
That's the Hollywood version. Yep.
New Orleans. How's that? New Orleans. All right.
That's perfect. Nailed it.
I will tell you, I prefer Bourbon Street and the French Quarter during the day. I went to Mardi Gras one time in the 90s, and this was back when I was young and crazy and partying, and that was too crazy for me, man. That was crazy.
It's off the wall.
It is. The crowd at one point picked me up and carried me about 10 feet and dropped me. And I went, I could die if this crowd stampeded. I mean, but a lot of people are having fun. I'm not saying don't go to Mardi Gras. I enjoyed the French Quarter and all that, just kind of during the day hanging out.
The key is if you're coming down here, don't come down here in July or August.
Yeah.
Or June, where it's like the hottest part of the year.
Yeah, same here in Arkansas, man. I love Arkansas, but I hate July and August. I discovered the great indoors, man. So, all right. Well, I'm going to throw out some show notes, and then we're going to talk about Little Rock Comic Con. So, people, New Orleans. That's how you say it. That is the relaxed, cool way to say it.
And now you know. Cue the.
Yeah, dun, 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 dun.
And now you know. Come on, Mike.
Or if it was
follow up with that.
If it was an old G.I. Joe cartoon, at this point we'd all start laughing. Ha 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 ha. Or was that Super Friends where they would laugh?
Friends.
Yeah, they all start laughing. Ha ha ha. Okay, anyway. So, all right, moving on now. I'm going to dig us back out of this hole if I can. Got some quick show notes to throw out. Folks, if you're listening by podcast or on Krypton Radio, you can always find the notes for today's show at shaneplays.com, ShanePlays.com. Last week's show is archived on the blog, and that was where I interviewed Mike and Elizabeth Stewart of the Victorious RPG, which is it's steampunk superheroes in the Victorian era. Really, really cool role-playing game. And I had the pleasure a couple of weeks ago of going to North Texas RPG Con. And if you're an old school tabletop gamer, I cannot recommend this con enough. There's a lot of heavy-hitting, famous industry names at this con, but it's small enough that everybody's just hanging out. There's no prima donnas. You don't have to go to a panel to meet anybody. You're just hanging out, and everybody's gaming and having fun. The show does go out as a podcast on the blog, shaneplays.com, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Podbean, SoundCloud, YouTube, and more. And last but never least, Shane Plays is also carried on Krypton Radio. Krypton Radio is SciFi for your Wi-Fi. KryptonRadio.com. And you heard during the break, the Troll Lord games, Castles and Crusades, they also publish Victorious. So if you like this, the siege engine from Castles and Crusades, Victorious uses that. And I don't push it a lot, but I do have a Patreon account, patreon.com/ShanePlays. I have a mix of sponsors and community support for this show. I never say, hey, I need your Patreon money. The show's going to go away. It's not like that. But, I do appreciate any support. And it's brought in, hundreds of dollars over the years, just, small amounts here and there. So I appreciate that very much. So, all right. So let's get back to Little Rock Comic Con with Mike and Robby. Robby, real quick, what are you going to have with you to sell at Little Rock Comic Con?
I'll have some prints, artwork that I've done through the years. Whenever I create or finish a piece, I usually try to make some prints available for anyone who might want an actual copy of it.
So how does that work? Like, so if you do because I see that a lot, people will do the covers that they've done for comic books. So are you allowed to keep the rights to your artwork now, or how does it? Is there an agreement? I mean, if that's a weird,
if it's a published piece,
I'm
probably we're probably not supposed to just make prints of it and sell it.
Okay, well, if it's something, I just thought that might actually be something awkward to bring up, I can edit this out if you want.
There are just other factors, if another person colored it, because I like a lot of the artwork that I'm selling, it's completely my artwork.
It's completely yours, so you're not, okay.
It's not colored by anyone else, it's just line art and colors by me.
Well, and I want to point out it's a standard practice, like, all the comic book artists I see at shows sell prints of their work. So I just assumed that maybe that was an industry standard agreement now or something. Maybe it's one of those things the industry's like, whatever, we don't, that's
it could be just other commissions that they've taken, like on the side, or
right.
It could just be like personal, passion projects,
right.
So,
well, the other comic there's another comic book artist I know that's done a lot of Transformers work, and they sell a lot of their prints. Now, is Timothy Lim going to be there this weekend?
Yeah, matter of fact, he did another cover for Transformers #1 that Robby did as well.
Okay.
So, Timothy is going to be there as well.
Now, I know this is like asking two people from New Orleans if they know each other, but do you happen to know Timothy, Robby? Have you run into him professionally or anything?
I've met him a few times through the years,
right.
And he, he's always a great guy, really nice guy.
Yeah,
great to talk to, and a lot of common interests. So yeah, I like him and his art. I'm looking forward to checking out your stuff as well. So you're gonna have stuff to sell. I imagine you'll do signatures and stuff like that. I don't, Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, signatures, commissions, and like I said, I'll have copies of that exclusive cover for #1. And you're also giving out 100 free copies of the prototype of the Optimus Prime Transformers at Ghostbusters thing,
Me
right?
and Dakota will be first in line for that one. I promise you that.
The headline is like mob activity in Little Rock. 17 injured. Yeah. Okay. So just to be clear, that was a joke, folks. And Robby Musso and Mike Tinnel and Salem Communications are not responsible for any carnage resulting. Okay. So, Mike, the Little Rock Comic Con is next Saturday, June 29th, 9 to 5, Benton Event Center, Benton, Arkansas. It's the same shopping center or parking lot as the Tinseltown Movie Theater. And you said you had kind of a special announcement to share regarding some admission pricing.
Right. Since this is the final Little Rock Comic Con, we are doing what I call a throwback pricing. So, and this only applies to the first 40 people in line who are paying with cash. So the first 20 will get in for the original price when we started.
Neat.
Little Rock Comic Con, which was $3.
Oh, wow.
So cash only now.
Yeah.
Now the next 20 after that, so 21 to 40,
Right.
will get in for the price when we went up the first initial, which was $5 when we moved to the Benton Event Center.
Yeah.
So first 40 people, first 20 get in for $3 cash only. The next 20 get in for $5 cash only. And if a line does start, then we'll
Right.
pass out tickets with the price written on the back.
Right.
But I mean, that's kind of like a little, just a little throwback we
That's
wanted to do
neat.
for the show
That's neat.
since we're going out.
So you've been doing it for, it's not 10 years. Last year's 10th
Yep.
anniversary. So this is your 11th year.
11th year.
Now, Mike, you and I both have a little bit of wisdom in our facial hair.
Oh, that gray?
Yeah.
We got a lot
So
of
how
that.
much of that gray is because of running Comic Cons?
Probably about 80. No, let's be realistically. As a man that's married, we're going to say 75 con, 25% wife. That's what we'll say.
Man, I ain't going anywhere near that.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I used to I want to run a convention, and after watching like you and Brent Douglas and some other people run conventions, I'm like, that is some hard freaking work. So you do it because you love it,
Right, but people don't understand what goes into those things, man. It is, it ain't like you pick up and start doing it a couple months in advance.
Right? It's a year-long thing.
You start, once you finish your show, you're like Nick Saban. You're starting that next day on a national championship.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, you just start right up.
I remember Brent Douglas, he used to do River City Comic Expo, and it may come back when I know he's got some things. It's not like he hadn't given up on it. He's like, I just ain't got time to mess with it right now. But he would say, okay, we've done our convention, and he's like, next week we have our meeting to do a postmortem on this one and get ready for the next one.
Right.
I mean, so it's a big deal, it's a big deal. So, so you got the special pricing. Like I said, mentioned we're going to have is it Bobby Valla?
Yes.
Okay, who's previously a head toy designer at Hasbro, now is launching his own toy design. He's going to be there. John Anderson, who is an actor, people would recognize him immediately if they saw his picture, who has been in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Stranger Things 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Sleepy Hollow, MacGyver, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The Case for Christ. I can't read this other logo here, but he's one of those character actors. As soon as you see him, you will recognize him.
He actually also played in Tag with Jeremy Renner.
Yeah,
He was in Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
He was Doom Patrol. That's on the DC Network.
Dude, I loved Doom Patrol.
He's in a scene in
That is a show I normally would not like because it
was good.
It can get pretty profane.
Oh yeah.
But dude, that was some clever TV story. I would, before I saw that, I would have said you could never adapt a Grant Morrison style comic book to TV, and they did it somehow. I don't know, but it was beautiful. Do you watch any superhero or geeky TV, Robbie? You watch anything right now you like?
No, I don't watch much TV.
Yeah.
To be honest, I watch. A lot of times while I'm working, I'll have podcasts on, for example, I mean, I do watch the Angry Mike show.
Yeah. Well, who can't watch the Angry Mike show?
I watch just another G.I. Joe podcast.
There you go.
So I have those on, but I don't watch a whole lot of TV. Surprisingly, I get ribbed a lot for that because a lot of my friends say, they say, what are you talking about? You work in this industry. Like, why haven't you seen this?
Yeah, here's a dirty little secret. Most people that work in an industry don't spend as much time consuming the joys of the industry as people think.
It's not that I don't like it. If I wouldn't mind it, but it's just another thing that kind of just flies under my radar.
Right. Well, I have people used to get shocked at me because I've been doing geek pop culture podcasting and radio and YouTube streaming and all this stuff for several years now. And for about 3 of that, I didn't have Netflix. And people looked at me like I was somehow letting the world down because you had all the Marvel shows on Netflix, And I'm like, there's plenty of other stuff out there, but I do have Netflix again now. But there's plenty out there, I guess, is what I'm saying. And a lot of people, like I know people that are in comic books or that are in movies, and I'll say, are you reading this? Or are you reading that? Are you watching? They're like, we don't have time. We're making our stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah. Yeah. I talk a lot. In fact, I just had a book come out about computer role-playing games, I co-authored. And I spend a lot of time talking and writing and podcasting about games. I hardly get to play games like I used to. Not just sit down and dig in. But anyway, speaking of, I've got to throw some love at a sponsor real quick, and then we'll come back and wrap up the show. That was a nice segue, but I almost forgot to get over into these people. Game Goblins. Some goblins are your friends. Game Goblins is Central Arkansas's premier retailer of Magic the Gathering, Warhammer 40K, board games, card games, RPGs, miniatures, and hobby accessories. Call Game Goblins at 501-224-GAME or visit them online at gamegoblins.com. That's 501-224-GAME or gamegoblins.com. Oh, and that reminds me, because I know that Arkansas Extra Life and Arkansas Children's does stuff with Game Goblins. Arkansas Extra Life is going to be at Little Rock Comic Con, right?
To my knowledge,
and that's the video gaming charity that raises money for children's hospitals.
Correct.
Okay. Conveniently located 1121 South Bowman, right on the corner of Bowman and Canis in West Little Rock, and staffed by friendly employees, Game Goblins has expanded their store size, and there's plenty of room for exciting inventory and tables for play space. You'll like that space because Game Goblins has gaming events every day of the week. For all your gaming needs, I heartily recommend Game Goblins. Make sure to check out their customer loyalty program that rewards you based on your actual purchases. Game Goblins earns your business and keeps it. First-time customers mention Shane Plays and receive $10 off your purchase of $50 or more. Tell them Shane Plays sent you. Okay, so we got about 3 minutes left here. Do you have any other guests or vendors or anything you want to mention, Mike?
I want to mention that, we are doing the cosplay contest as usual. We have a list on our Facebook page of what categories are. Our cosplay guest is a Cosplay Insanity. She actually does a lot of work with Spec Gaming up in West Little Rock. She'll be set up there, and she'll be part of the judges panel for the contest, along with Benton's Dark Knight and Wonder Woman.
Benton's Dark Knight is cool. He has a great Batman outfit, and he's got a Batmobile.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing. I think I talked him into doing. Talked him into doing Captain America. And hold on, he has the Captain America, but I told him to borrow a friend of ours, Thor hammer.
Yeah. Oh, so he's doing the Mjolnir from. Yeah. Dude, that was such a great moment in Endgame.
Yeah.
I was one of the people who lost my poop when that happened.
Oh, so, I did too.
Yeah.
I did see Endgame, I will say.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I saw of all the movies I did not see, I saw Infinity War and I saw Endgame.
Well,
I agree. Okay. That was one of the highlights.
That was a fantastic moment.
When Cap wielded Mjolnir.
Yeah.
I wanted to clap.
I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah. I'll tell you, I went and saw the new Godzilla movie, and I was like, I might as well have been in a wrestling match. Like, I was embarrassing myself how much I was clapping and yelling and stuff. Really? But anyway, how much time we got left there, Zach? 1 minute. Okay. Next Saturday. Well, anyway, so I got to say real quick, we're about to run out of time. Maybe you can get Captain America to get a motorcycle with a plastic windshield that turns into a shield.
Shield, yeah.
Yeah, so he'll do that. Got to get to the bad joke of the week. What did the doctor say to his patient that wanted to do his own stitches?
What?
Suit yourself.
Suit yourself.
Suit yourself. Folks, next Saturday, June 29th, Benton Events Center, same parking lot as Tinseltown, 9 to 5, Little Rock Comic Con. And I think kids get in for free with a paid adult? How does
Correct.
that work? Okay.
8 and under get in for free with a paid adult.
All right. We'll see you next Saturday, folks. I'll be out there. I'll have a little booth set up. I'm pre-recording. Robby, it was a pleasure to speak with you, and I hope to meet you in person next Saturday.
Great.
Mike,
it was great talking with you guys.
Yeah, I know. I love the work you're doing. And then, Mike, I hope you have a successful show. Everybody else, we'll catch you next time on Shane Plays.
Someday I'll be giving the orders, Rumble. You'll do what I say. Look, Starscream, Megatron is strong. He's merciless. He can't be beaten. And you'll never be our leader. I will find a way. Everyone has a weakness. The energy is ours. We can go back to Cybertron.
You fool, Starscream. This is but a small fraction of the energy we need.
Autobots! Electrical power to make the energon cubes!
Your knowledge is only overshadowed by your stupidity, Starscream.
So long, Autobots. Here's one Starscream's been saving for you.
You fool, Starscream! Help save the energon cubes! Get them out of here! What was that? Starscream! What in the universe are you doing?
Testing the energon cubes. They work!
Of course they work.
You didn't know. You never tested them. I proved it.
You only proved your defective mentality. Now we need 2 strikes before we'll have enough energy to return to Cybertron.
What's the difference? There's plenty here for us.
The difference is time, you fool. You've set us up.
Don't push me, Megatron. My desire for power is as great as yours.
Power flows to the one who knows how. Desire alone is not enough.
Time makes all things possible. I can wait. Right on schedule, aren't we?
No thanks to you, Starscream.
I've made my contribution.
You've also made clear your desire to replace me as leader of the Decepticons. Mistake number 1.
It's time for a change, Megatron. It's time for action, not words. I am the leader of the future.
You couldn't lead androids to a picnic. How can you pretend to lead the Decepticons?
Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/ShanePlays.